And we're back for another exciting episode of the Creators Collective. You have to forgive me, I have a bit of a cold this week, but it makes my voice sound that much better. Or at least my wife thinks it does. So we're going to have a fun week this week. And just to give you guys a quick heads up, we are going to be doing the Creators Photo Challenge. So we'll be announcing the winner of that this week, as well as talking through a few other things that are going on. Next week, we will have a guest coming on, Lynn from Darwin Orber. So that should be kind of fun to have a different perspective. But this week, let's dive in. Zach, what you got going on?
I've been working on the truck.
I didn't catch you off balance again. Oh, come on.
I was scrolling through my Instagram feed trying to decide. I kind of made up my mind last week, but there have been a few new submissions, so I'm trying to really solidify my final picks for the photo challenge. Yeah, mostly working on the truck. So yesterday I actually had a few locals within, and when I say locals, so I'm in the middle of nowhere, Florida. I mean, people
Yokels?
within what's that?
Yokels?
Yeah, local yokels. Pretty much people within about 40, 50 miles of me. So I had a handful of people come out to the shop yesterday. We forged some of those key fobs because some of them bought them, and they're like, "Hey, if you're going to be making them, I'd love to come watch." So I'm like, "Why don't you come down and make your own? I'll show you how."
Cool.
So I had a handful of people here yesterday. It's kind of fun. It almost felt like a day off. So did that, and yeah, pretty much that in the truck. I'm really, really trying to get another video out here soon. So
yeah, when's it coming out?
I should have it done hopefully in this week. I got the other side of the box in primer, got all the dents banged out. So I have just some filler work to do, another coat of primer, and then paint, which is probably 2 days work. And I'm going to probably get out there right after this. But the trick is since I'm going to be moving all of these old videos over to my main channel, I'm thinking rather than just dumping 3 hours of video over to my main channel the same day, I think I should probably space them out. So I might just start moving them over slowly to my main channel, and then maybe in a couple weeks this video will be out. It'll probably be done in a week. I think I should space them out. So I haven't really made my mind up yet, but I'll certainly have pictures on my Instagram if anybody's interested. I actually already have a few. So
cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Will, what you got?
Oh man, I am still trying to get some small stuff off of my bench. Just my shop is a mess right now, and I feel totally unfocused. So I'm trying to mentally wrap my head around everything that I'm doing. I am finishing a part of my basement to put a bedroom and bathroom and hallway down there. So we'll have more space for family. That's just kind of a honeydew thing. My wife's been asking for it for a long time. So I finally got to it. I just got my new lathe in the shop, and man, this thing is a beast. It is the Grizzly G0733. It's a 18 by 47 lathe with the 2 horsepower 3-phase into a variable frequency drive. So it runs off of 220 power. And it's just smooth and buttery and awesome. And I'm
what were you using
excited.
Before that?
The Harbor Freight 1233.
Oh wow! You did all your work on a Harbor Freight lathe, huh?
Yeah,
that's impressive.
And I'll tell you, a lot of people ask me what a good starter lathe is, and if you have the space, the Harbor Freight 1233 is an awesome entry level lathe. Just to even see if you like turning before, spending tons and tons of money on, big, super heavy duty lathes and tools and things like that. But you can pick up some of the Hurricane turning tools and the Harbor Freight 1233. I think it's
the one I used to have.
Yeah, it's a great lathe, and I'm not getting rid of it. I'm just I moved it over into my shop, so I'm gonna use it as kind of a dedicated spindle lathe. where I can have two projects going on at once. I can use it as a teaching lathe. So if somebody wants to learn how to turn, I can, we can kind of do it real time where they're turning something and I'm turning something. But yeah, but the Grizzly is like shipping weight was 550 pounds.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
My wife apparently left her phone in the room here, so I'm blaming her.
Yeah, but
the wheel is looking sweet. If you guys don't follow Will on Instagram, you need to do that. He's got one of the sweetest Instagram channels. So,
thanks, man. But yeah, what are you working on, James?
Let's see. I am going to be doing later today. I'm doing a live hangout with my mother, which should be kind of fun. She's going to be in the shop here, and we're going to be making wooden knives. So that should be interesting. And apparently, it was such a hit last week with my wife manning the chat. She'll be doing it again this week. So if any of you really want to know the real me and ask my wife questions behind my back while I'm doing something else, you can come to the hangout, the live. It'll be tonight at 7 Central, I think it is. So that should be interesting. Let's see what else. Oh, the glue test. The glue test is still going on. The frame for the glue test, Wildman Tech was able to mail that out here, and it should be here Monday I think it's here Wednesday next week.
This is the most elaborate, I think this is the most elaborate thing that you've ever done. It's more thorough than that nightstand that you built, or the dresser, I mean.
Yeah, it's taking about as long as the dresser. But I almost have all the glue blocks on. I have 3 more strips I need to glue on, and I have all the exterior ones are done and are outside in the weather condition right now. So they've already gotten 2 freeze thaw cycles, 3 inches of snow. They've been through 2 different rains, so they should be really good. When I bring them in, I'm gonna have them wet. So they'll have the whole range of weather experience on the glue. That should be kind of interesting to see.
While we're on the topic of glue, I actually have a question that you might have an answer to. So my dad, I've recently got him out in my shop, sticking stuff, just kind of doing little odds and ends and building cutting boards and turning pens and stuff. It's great. He loves it. So I have a box of just all sorts of hardwood scraps. And he was gluing a lot of it together, making cutting boards and stuff. My glue bot was the glue has been in there for a year and it's super dried up. And he put water in it, stirred it up to, whatever the word is.
Rejuvenate.
Yes. And then when he glued the stuff up, and all the maple has kind of bluish, brownish little spots along the glue line. And I'm wondering if that's because we have such hard water here. I wonder if it's the minerals that kind of discolored the glue joints. You're probably supposed to use distilled water. I never knew, but I'm assuming that it's from probably the super hard water that we have. Maybe the minerals are dyeing it. I don't know. I didn't know if you had any ideas.
I don't.
That's my best idea.
Maybe you should do that with a future glue test, is actually seeing rejuvenated wood glue. What happens when you re-wet it down? Is it just as good, or does it weaken? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Our water here is like liquid rock, so it's pretty bad.
Limestone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, I finished the low angle the low angle joiner plane. So that was a really fun build. I had a blast with that. I did a 10-minute long how-to, just a quick run through of how I built it. But I'm also going to be doing the 4 videos of detailed step-by-step taking it through. So that I've had a lot of good response. It was one of the better videos I've had in a while. So yeah,
cool.
Life is good. Questions? We don't actually have any questions. No one asked us any questions this week. Oh, we do have one from the live listeners. Thomas Spillane asks, does Armor Seal have any amber coloring or light coloring in the wood, like maple? Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. It's oil based. Sorry, guys, bear with me. I am trying to stop my system from doing an automatic restart.
So if you disappear.
So if I disappear, so if I seem a little distracted, I'll talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right there.
Oh.
I won't make any Windows versus Apple comments right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
You can set those to only do at certain times.
Yeah, I have it set as my
Only
active hours
to
from
do it during the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Back to the question. Any oil-based finish will have that slight amber tint, and some of them have it a little bit more than others. But yes, they will do that. If you do have the water-based, though, those you can get almost perfectly crystal clear, and some of the matte finish water-based polys almost look as if there's no finish at all on the wood. They almost look raw. So yes, if that's what you're looking for, go for a water-based instead. You have anything to add, Zach?
Nope.
Let's see. We have one other one from what?
Nope.
Oh.
That is just funny.
We have one other one from Hammer and Neil. I like that name.
That's such a good name.
What is a good angle to sharpen a draw knife? Tips on sharpening them. I picked up an old rusty one yesterday. Either of you want to?
Why would we answer that when we have a perfectly good
I'm
James?
giving you the chance rather than jumping on your feet.
Well, I mean, that's totally your domain, man.
The angle, the finer the angle, the easier it is. The more often you have to sharpen, the more chance there is that you'll have a chip out on it. Mine are mostly at like 25 degrees, but that can vary. I have a couple that are down at like 20 degrees, and those are really nice for shaving. And then I have one that's up at like a 35 degree that I just use for doing some of the detail work. It doesn't dive as deeply as the others. Tips on sharpening them.
Here's a question really quick. When you're using your draw knives, are you bevel up or bevel down?
Both.
Yeah. Okay.
I have some where the handle is held so that they can only be bevel up. I have one that can basically only be bevel down. But the two main go-to ones I have, the handle is in such a way that it's very easy to flip them over and go both ways.
I mean, when I first started using one, like when I first bought it, I just thought like, oh, you're supposed to use them bevel up. It just seems like it makes sense. But I found that with those, when you're using bevel up, they really want to cut into the wood. Whereas if you have, if you're really trying to just scrape off like the inner bark or something, bevel down, it seems to want to skate over the surface, which is a little bit better for like not taking off huge pieces.
Yep.
Or if you have really like weird grain that just sometimes you'll be going along and all of a sudden your draw knife's halfway through the piece of material, like should probably be beveled down on those ones.
I've got two draw knives. One of them is I think it's a 10-inch. And I keep that one fairly dull. That's my bark remover. And like you said, bevel down, it kind of works well because you can kind of get under the bark and just kind of roll your wrists and it kind of just pops off. And then you can use that bevel to pivot, where bevel up definitely seems to dive and get some nasty tear out.
That's actually one of the big differences between the power tool world and the hand tool world. And when you look at it, someone who comes to woodworking without any hand tool experience almost always uses the chisel and has the natural mind that a bevel up is the way to go. And it makes sense because your force should be in line with the chisel. That's the most efficient way to do it. In that case, the bevel is up. But in the hand tool world, bevel down almost always gives you better control.
Yeah.
It almost always is a finer tool to work that way. And so in the bevel and the hand tool mindset is almost always bevel down. So if you look at all old chisels, molding planes, everything is bevel down. And it's the rare thing that is bevel up, like a chisel plane, and that's why low angle bevel up planes were kind of a later addition to the hand tool world. They were more or less they're originally just designed for doing like butcher blocks and in-grain cutting boards, where you have large surfaces of in-grain to slice through.
Yeah.
So,
real quick, we had another question about the VFD controlling a three-phase motor. Yes, man crafting. The VFD, the variable frequency drive, is controlling a three-phase motor, and that's a pretty common thing that people do for when they have like old like massive giant bandsaws and the big jointers from way back when. People will often take a three-phase motor, use a variable frequency drive to convert that into a tool that you don't need three-phase power for. You do lose some horsepower from my understanding. I think so. If you take like a 5 horsepower motor, three-phase motor, put it through a variable frequency drive, I think the average is maybe 3 horsepower. You guys might have some better
newer ones. It's far less.
Okay.
We used to use those in theater quite a bit for large turntables and large scale automation. The cool thing about a VFD is that it basically acts like a gear reduction system, and so that at lower RPMs you have much more force. So you actually have a stronger tendency. So for ramping up large, massive items that take a lot of force to get going, it's very useful, because if you just turn on a switch, you just blow a breaker because the amperage needed to turn it on isn't enough. Whereas you throw a VFD on there, the amount of force at the lower RPMs is much greater. So it's kind of a torque, not force. There's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, for things like that and lower speeds on larger bowl turnings, that would be useful. But does the Grizzly that you got, does it use a VFD for speed control?
It does, yeah. So it's got the motor into the back of a VFD, and then out of the VFD, you've got your potentiometer, and it's got a two pulley system where you can low gear and high gear. So I can in the first gear, I can turn from 0 RPMs to 1200. And then in the second gear, I can turn from, I want to say 400 to 3200 RPMs. I think. Yeah. So I'm
That's
really
faster
excited.
than my foot can go.
Before I forget, this Saturday, I am speaking at the Fredericksburg Area Woodworkers Guild. Nice. I'm really excited. I'm going to be talking about incorporating social media into your business. I know that's kind of a basic topic, but kind of incorporating the storytelling aspect of your projects and getting people excited about your projects to gain interest on maybe making a piece for them, and kind of how my story and kind of how I am where I am now, dealing with custom commissions, doing deals with brands, things like that. So if you're anywhere around Fredericksburg, Virginia, within a couple hours, I will be there talking 8:30 a.m. We are supposed to get some weather this weekend, which I'm so over the weather. I'm ready for spring. I want spring to be here. But so Fredericksburg Area Woodworkers Guild, I'll be there at 8:30 a.m. giving a talk. So
that's a really sweet group. I had fun when I was out there.
Yeah, everyone says that your talk went over really well. So I'm excited.
Cool. Are you shooting a video of it? Because I'd like to see that.
I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to film some of it, but because I'm going to be speaking, I'm not sure how interesting of a video it'll be with my editing style.
Yeah.
But they're going to film it too. So, yeah. Cool. Sorry.
We had another question come in from Jonathan 24. Or I guess it's pronounced Jonathan 24. Need what's the worst or most frustrating tool you've ever had?
Hmm.
Mine is currently my powder actuated, my powder actuated nail gun. Basically a ram set, but it was the DeWalt brand. You put 22 caliper blanks in this tool, and it fires a 2.5-inch nail through a pressure treated plate into your concrete floor when you're setting walls and basements. And it started jamming up on me, and it's fairly new. I've maybe put, I don't know, 40 rounds through it. But it jammed up on me, and I have to take it apart every time after every single charge I fire. And it's the most frustrating thing, especially when you're trying to get something done for your wife that she's been asking for a year.
A good ram set is a fantastic thing.
Anytime you get to incorporate explosions into your work.
I think for me, it's actually my table saw. There's a reason why
I know.
For those of you who know, I have a table saw in my garage. It's a cheap off-brand from Menards. I bought it secondhand. It's like 10 years old. It doesn't have a fence, and so if I ever use it, I clamp a 2x4 on as a fence.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. It has no riving knife, no safety features. It's just a spinning blade with a flat surface, and like a horse and a half. So if you push anything into it too much, it dies. But yet still somehow breaks pops a 20 amp breaker. It's a terrifying mess, and there's a reason why I cut everything with hand tools, because I don't want to touch that thing. But yeah, it's still in my garage and in the corner, so it doesn't get
That's scary. Can you put a fence on it? Like,
yeah, I clamp a 2x4 on as a fence.
That should be illegal, James. Mine is set, like, my fence is set out like 30 thousandths of an inch. Like, I seriously got a dial indicator, and it is dialed in. I have never had an issue with it. I could only imagine like the imperfection, like some wavy board clamped haphazardly to the table like that. Just
for oak or hickory, I can cut faster with a handsaw than I can with the table saw.
That's disturbing.
That reminds me of my old table saw. It was my granddad's Craftsman. They're notorious for not locking the fence square after you move it.
Wobbles back and forth.
Yeah, wobbles back and forth. So you have to measure the front of the blade and the back of the blade, and like nothing is precise.
Yeah.
I remember having some really like, oh my gosh moments in my old shop, which was in a shed behind my parents' house. That was at the bottom of a hill. So you imagine you walk down a hill into these doors, and I was cutting a rabbit for some picture frames the wrong way, with the waste being trapped between the fence and the blade, where I see so many people do it on YouTube, and I always want to comment like, really, you're doing it the wrong way. That's super dangerous. And the reason it's dangerous is because this actually happened to me. I was cutting the rabbit the wrong way, like I said, with the waist of the rabbit toward the fence. There was a knot in the board. So as soon as the blade hit the knot, the waist separated from the rest of the piece and turned into a projectile and launched at like light speed, like a javelin or a spear, into the hill behind me. I just happened to have the doors open, and it stuck in like 3 feet into the ground.
Jeez.
And I was like, if I was behind that, that would have been my stomach. Like, oh, sorry. You're just bringing back memories of scary table saws.
That's the reason why I use hand tools. What about you, Zach? What you got?
You know, without thinking about it, I'm sure I have a better answer. I'm just trying to think of like what causes me to curse the most in the shop. And right now, just off the top of my head, the quickest thing that comes to me is like glue ups and clamping. And I feel like I never have the right clamps for what I'm doing. I mean, I have like probably 15 clamps, and I still never have enough, or I never have the right ones. And I don't have any of the fancy ones that like sit off of the table. So like I'll lay it on the table, I'll put all the wood in there, and then I can't tighten it because the crank is longer than the distance between the piece and the spindle. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You can get like a quarter turn, and then you have to move it, and everything falls apart. And I don't know.
All right, I'll be that guy. You can never have too many clamps.
Yeah, right. Well, and it'd be nice if I had like 2 or 3 nice ones. That would certainly make a difference. But mine are all super cheap.
Cool.
They work just well enough for me to not replace them.
Yes. You need to get yourself some wooden beams.
Yeah. Yeah. New shop space. It's not a tool. If it were, that would be my complaint.
Yeah. So let's go on to the creators photo challenge.
Yes.
Time again. Zach, have you picked yours, or should I jump?
I have 2.
Okay, what you got?
Master of None and You Can Make This Too are my 2 choices. There's some other good ones in there as well, obviously, but I think those are my 2 standouts.
Well, tell us about them.
Oh yeah, let me find my thing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Caleb from You Can Make This Too. It's just a really I'm trying to pull up the list here. It's just a really cool shot of his hands on a plane and his kid's hands in the background. It's just the focus and the lighting and everything. It's just the right amount of interesting. I don't know exactly why I like it so much, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And I liked Utkan's Master of None's. It's just his hands on an angle grinder that sounds really intimate. It's his hands on an angle grinder. I don't know. It's just kind of a cool shot. It's black and white. I just like the idea of it. But I'd say my favorite is probably Caleb from You Can Make This Too's. But
cool.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Gabber _FB76 has a cool one. I actually almost looked like he was miking a crankshaft or something, but I can't remember what he said it was. Oh, it's an electric motor and a pump. But yeah, there's some good ones. But those are my 2 standouts. How about you guys?
Well,
so I actually Caleb Harris. That was one of my favorites, and I don't know if it was just because it's near and dear to my heart of teaching and the next generation and hand planes. But that was just a really sweet, well lit, interesting photograph. So Caleb's definitely my front runner. And my other pick is I don't know if this is kosher or not, but James, your photo was it was just really, really well done. It was really sharp. It was if for anybody listening, it was a photo of James scribing a line with a marking knife, and it was just a very professional looking shot. So I don't know if we're allowed to.
Sure, why not?
Win, but
we get to make our own rules, so
yeah, you just can't pick your own.
We want. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, all right.
Well, thank you, Will.
Yeah, James, how about you?
I would have to go with Old South Woodcraft. It is a total mind. He's using a Stanley 80. There's the number, and it's just a the cabinet scraper going through some knot and weird grain, and just I don't know. Anytime there's a cabinet scraper, I'm getting it. So that's I would have to pick his as my first, and second is You Can Make This Too, which we've all picked. It was just it was one of those shots that was absolutely perfect, and you gotta. I was kicking myself that I didn't think about bringing the kids into the shot. It's like an automatic win right there.
Or dogs.
Yeah. Or dogs, yeah. For people that don't like kids.
Yeah. So I think we have a clear winner.
That was easy.
Yeah. Caleb, you win.
What does Caleb win?
Respect.
Respect. Let's see. Zach, you sent out a t-shirt last time, right?
I haven't sent it out yet, but yes, that's going to happen tomorrow, I believe. I'm planning a post office run.
Okay. Caleb, how about I send you a small turned bowl on my new lathe?
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Rick is going to be kind of pissed off that he's just getting one of my stupid shirts.
Well, I don't have any shirts that are like on hand because I use Teespring, so they just do them in batches and send them directly to the people.
So I guess the winner for next week will get something from my shop. Prepare
Or
yourself.
2 weeks from now.
Yeah, two weeks. So what we're going to do is next week, Lynn from Darwin Orver is going to be on. So 2 weeks from today, we'll be picking the next winner. And what we're going to be doing is a black and white photo contest. So shoot your shots in monochromatic black and white and put a hashtag of Creators Photo Challenge. And we will pick the winner 2 weeks from today. So I'm kind of interested in this one. I have a couple fun ideas. So anything in the shop, black and white, and make it look good.
So
Parameters are loose on this one, you guys.
Yeah. So question for you, Will. Is there any advantage to shooting in black and white versus editing into black and white?
Well, it depends on the format you're shooting in. So I shoot everything in RAW format versus JPEG.
Okay. You broke up for the only answer part of the question.
It depends on what format you're shooting in. So I shoot in RAW format, which is it's basically a digital negative. There's so much information in the file. So you can pull up shadows, you can pull down highlights to a certain extent. Where a JPEG, your shadows are your shadows and your highlights. Yeah, you're just kind of that's it. I mean, you can lighten and darken, but it's not going to look nearly as good as shooting RAW. So that being said, I shoot everything in RAW and edit to black and white later.
Okay. So what about for us laymen's who are probably still shooting in JPEG? Is there an advantage to shooting in black and white versus editing?
Only if you're shooting for black and white versus color, you can lose some more of your shadows in black and white, and it just makes it more moody. So if you're actually reviewing on the back of the camera, you can kind of make sure that it's a good visual aid. If you're shooting in JPEG, just shoot black and white if you want it to be a black and white later. So yes. If you're shooting in JPEG, there is a benefit. If you're shooting in RAW, just shoot RAW.
Okay. So do you actually do all your video in RAW as well?
I shoot my video. I don't shoot in S-Log. I actually shoot in the Cine 4 profile, which there's lots and lots of documents and articles and blog posts and videos about different camera profiles. But basically, you're shooting in a very flat camera profile and then color grading later. So, yeah, does that help? Yeah. So like S-Log or C-Log on Canon would be the equivalent to your RAW files when shooting stills, but the Cine 4 profiles are very much flat and don't require as much color grading because S-Log footage looks super, super flat, bland, boring until you color grade. And there's a little bit more of a learning curve with that. So,
okay.
That's what I shoot with.
You shoot S-Log?
Yeah.
Okay. But straight out of the camera, Cine looks better than S-Log, but S-Log will eventually look better in the final.
What's the JPEG equivalent of movie? Is it just like dot
it depends.
or dot move or I don't even know what mine records in, but it's whatever the least demanding.
So my files are .mp4, and that's in the Cine 4 profile. James, what are the S-Log files come out as?
I don't know. I don't know.
Let's see. I'll find out really quick. I'm gonna open up a folder and see. Yeah, mine are actually .mov.
Oh, okay.
No, wait. Yeah, no, they are .mov. That's kind of weird, huh? My GoPros are MP4. What yours? Do you know what yours come out as, James?
I'm trying to pull one up right now.
Will has left to attend his.
Will has left the building. Property
Yeah.
manager. Why are you not giving me the type? View. .mov, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Cool. Well, let's see. Do we have a joke of the week? I don't have one listed.
I don't think we do. Are we out?
I think we're out of jokes. So if any of you have a joke and would like to have it on air, feel free to send that to us. We are jokeless today.
Yeah.
How boring is that? Cool. Well, then let's move on to what we're watching or reading. Will, what you got?
I am actually watching Frontier, which is,
I've heard that's good.
yeah, it's really it's like gratuitously violent, but you know, if you're into that thing, it's a really good show. I'm a little over like how gratuitously violent it is. I think sometimes they're just being violent just to be violent, which is, you know, I know some people are into that, but I'm more of the cinematic, like I don't need to shock everybody. But the story is really cool. It's about trappers in Canada in the 1800s. I think it's the 1800s. In the 1800s, in the fur trade and all the independent contractors versus the big kind of conglomerate fur people, and kind of trying to tackle the business. And there's a lot of drama, a lot of action, a lot of deception, a lot of Scottish people, which I'm Scottish in heritage. My grandmother's off the boat, so I always enjoy listening to Scottish people talk.
Huh.
Yeah, so yeah, so that's what I'm watching right now, and nothing to do with making anything. But yeah, James,
sometimes you need a break from that stuff.
Yeah, I just needed like a good fiction. Well, it's fiction, but it's based on, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For anybody watching the live feed,
for my pick of the week, I have the Mortise and Tenon magazine, which just came out this last week, and everyone got it in the mail, and I was so jealous because I was one of the last people to get it. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. But if any of you don't know what Mortise and Tenon magazine is, it is basically like a scientific journal for woodworking, and they go back and they look at historical methods and way things were done in the past, how to do them a little bit better, what we can learn from the past, and just a crazy amount of detailed information. And yeah, it's the type of thing you get and you immediately sequester yourself away in a room for like 3 or 4 hours, and you work.
I'm digging the cover on that one. What's the relevance of that?
It's an axe.
I know, but like, what's
a hatchet?
Is there like some sort of feature that talks about some woodworking method that involves?
I haven't gotten that far in there, but a hatchet is like the hatchet is the second tool to be used in any job. The first tool is the felling axe, and then the second is the hatchet. And so you're refining your lumber to a rough shape, and then you can saw it into lumber itself.
I'd love to. So I got
hatchet's the first thing you grab.
Yeah, I have that hydraulic forging press I'm going to be getting soon, and one of the things I want to do with it is make a bunch of like axes and hatchets and stuff, just because I think it'd be fun. So
that'd be fun.
That'd be really cool.
I just wish that we had something here to cut down.
I'll tell you what, we'll collab. You make 2, you send me 1, and I'll make handles.
I would love to, like, hopefully, I mean, when I move back to Oregon, it'll be great, but like, I'd love to do a video where I make the actual like axes, cut down a tree and make furniture, and the just like tools, and it's, you know, it'd be kind of rough furniture, but I don't have anything to cut down here. So
I've got a ton of logs and trees and all kinds of stuff. James, you've seen it. So yeah, make 3. James, you make the handles, then send me 1 and I'll chop some stuff up.
That'd be kind of cool to do a collab. Like I could do the head, send it to James. He could do the make a handle or something, send it to you, and you could do a video, and I could just be sad that I can't use any of the cool tools
that you made.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun though. I like that idea. Maybe I bet I'm about a month and a half to 2 months out because I got to wait for my press. I don't know if I told you anybody on the podcast that I'm going to be taking a like a class in Indiana, like a smithing class and a hydraulic forging class.
That
Oh,
sounds like a
cool.
lot of fun.
I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I've been saving
Sounds
it
good to
as
me.
it approaches.
Cool.
It's towards the end of the month. And let's see, what's the date today? It's like I'll save it until next week. That'll give me something exciting to talk about. So remind me next
Oh.
week to talk about my class this month.
Well, then what are you watching or reading?
So we are actually, I'm still reading Christine, the Stephen King book. I know it's kind of messed up, but it really like makes me want to get out there and work on my truck. So, it's a good read. Doing that, and also like my wife and I we're kind of ping ponging between catching up on old like Roseanne episodes and
Nice.
Seinfeld. So, yeah,
Fun.
that's what we've been up to.
Very cool.
Well, do you have a tool or product then?
I don't. Although I'm just going to repeat my I think it was a week or two ago. Let me look it up here. It's the Swag Off-Road portable bandsaw table. That thing is amazing. It's just I keep on finding reasons to use it that I just can't believe I went for so long without it. So if anybody has like a bandsaw, just do yourself a favor, like the little metal bandsaws. Do yourself a favor and get one of the tables. I'll find a link here.
Cool.
Right on.
What you got, Will?
So I haven't actually tried it yet, but a company reached out to me. They are the Amazon marketer for Mike Mahoney's finishes, walnut oil finish, and asked if they could send me some of the walnut oil for me to try on the channel. And I said, sure, I'd love to. I've actually been meaning to make my own walnut oil wax blend. So that just came in the mail yesterday. I'm really excited to check it out. It's I love that it's a small business. The Mahoney Finishes is a small business. I think they're based in northern Iowa, made in the USA. My daughter is playing the piano now. And
Cool
I will
stuff,
put.
I've got that on my list to play with.
I sent them an email back and they never wrote me back.
Mahoney's.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the distributor for them. So I think it's Creative Concepts, Creative something.
I'll have to look.
Out of Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, I think, or Lexington, Kentucky. So they reached out to me, and it's very dramatic behind me right now.
Yeah. Some nice augmented chords going on there.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a 7th. Cool. James, how about you?
I've got the great old spoke shave. A while ago, years ago, Stanley made the Stanley 51, and then they made the 151, and they have the newer Stanley 951. They're all basically the same with slightly different features, but I recently got the new cheap, and it's really, really cheap. It's like $17 on Amazon. It's a Stanley 951, the newer one, and I wasn't expecting much for it, but I am very pleasantly surprised. It actually works, and you sharpen up the blade, and it's just like any other. I was very, very happy. So for like I think it was like $17. You get a spoke shave that is working, functional, and pleasantly enjoyable. So yeah, I will be using it tonight in the live video on the channel. So that's about it. I guess you guys have squandered another perfectly good 45 minutes with us, the crazies. We should do that as an intro, something to do with the funny house. But yes, next week we're going to be recording at a different time so that Lynn from Darwin Orver can come and join us. So next week we won't be recording at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be recording at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So those of you who are on the West Coast who would want it to be a little later, you can join us live at 1 a.m. Eastern time. and we will have
1
a lot of
p.m.
fun with that.
Eastern
1
time.
p.m. Eastern time.
I was gonna say, I'm not going to make that 1 a.m. thing.
Yeah.
So that's about it for this week. If you guys have any questions you'd like to have us answered, feel free to message one of us or send it to the YouTube channel Creators Collective. And if you'd like to join us live, we normally record at 10 a.m. Eastern time, but next week will be 1 p.m. Eastern time. So feel free to join us, have your questions answered live. And if any of you have a joke of the week you'd like us to sell, let us know.
And get your photo challenge. Photo challenge. We can't talk. I give up.
Yes. Hashtag Creators Photo Challenge. You have 2 weeks to get in your black and white picture, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you all create with that. This is turning into a lot of fun. So
yeah, I'm liking this.
So that's about it for this week. And until next time, don't drive like my brothers. See ya.
See you guys.